Yeah, I'm so extra. Express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, one more juicy. Coming up. Yeah. Come on, yeah. Come up now. Come on, stop me. Come on, you coming up.
Well, hello, everyone. You are here for another Hop series. We are on tonight. It's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everyone. I hope that you have had a very productive day. I know I have. I spent my day packing for my trip. So I've been doing a lot. Hey, Morgan, how are you?
Good. How are you? How are you?
Fantastic. I couldn't be better. Couldn't be better. If I was, I'd be floating on a cloud, and clearly I'm grounded. Clearly I'm grounded.
I feel you. Hello, Ebony. How are you? How are you?
Hey, Ebony, so glad to have you on here. Hey, Corey, that's right. We need you guys to tag and share and let everyone know that we are on for another power pack, information filled, fun time on House of Peach. We have an amazing guest on this evening, and our topic is postpartum depression, motherhood, and the kitchen sink. Mm, all of that and then some. And so we are going to talk about all of that because we are about women's empowerment and we are here to push you, to motivate you, to encourage you. And we try to bring on entrepreneurs who are doing phenomenal things, mothers, everything you can think of to give us little nuggets that will help us in our lives. And we are ready for tonight. However, before we get started, so we have, I believe, on the 31st, is that next week? Yeah, we have our, is that next week that we have He Said, She Said?
Is it the end of the month? Yeah, it totally is the end of the month.
It is that.
Yes.
It is
It is
that.
rolling. Like, I'm moving at the end of this month. We're actually in a couple of days. So that's why, like, my whole,
Everything is all just
yes.
discombobulated. Like, what day is it? Oh, hey, I've been
Yeah,
there
it is the
more
end
than
of the
once.
month.
Like, it's what? Oh, yeah. Well, okay then. Yay for you moving into a new place. That's always fun. And I mean that very sarcastically because I hate moving, I hate packing, I hate all of that. If one day I'm going to be able to have movers come in and say, just pack it up and here's the new address, put it on the truck and just go. And
That's what my
then
girlfriend just told me. She was just like, I will never, she said, after having a moving company one time, she said, I will never, ever move myself again.
I've had movers twice. The first time was when I moved from Georgia to Ohio, and I was living with my parents at the time, and they came and packed up my stuff and some of my mom's stuff and drove it up to Ohio. And I just remember because she had this clock that would tick so loudly, and the box. I'm like hearing this ticking, like, what is this ticking? And I would open the box, like, oh, my mom was like, you stole my clock. I'm like, no, the movers did that. So yeah, she's like, let me come in here and see what else you took. No, I didn't take the stuff. The movers did that. So hey, mom, sorry about your clock. That clock served me well. I will say that. But yeah, so about the he said, she said, we already have people on the panel for that, but we want men and women because we're going to talk about relationships and everything that's involved with that from the female and the male perspective because we have our own thoughts of how we feel men think and do, and they're like, no, that's not it. That's not how I do it. So they're going to share with us how they actually do it and what they're actually thinking and feeling so we can get some kind of understanding there a little bit. We're going to meet in the middle somewhere. So if you are interested in being on the panel, do reach out to Morgan or myself, inbox us and let us know, and we would be happy to have you on. Y'all know how we've been doing it since January, very laid back, informal, fun, funny, no judgment zone here. We just want to have a good time and we want to empower some people. That's what we want to do. That's what it's all about. So I know I need information, and I'm sure there's some men that have some questions that they might have not been comfortable enough to ask. So this isn't going to be male bashing nor female bashing. We just here to have grown up conversations, and there is no topic off limits.
There you go.
Preface it with that. So hi, Jackie. Glad that you're on. Y'all, please also on the screen, you will see the QR code. I want you to pull your phone out and get your cameras out and scan that QR code and subscribe to House of Peach. That way, you will be informed when we go live and about events and everything else we have going on. You don't want to miss what House of Peach is doing. Hey, Corey. I don't know if I said hey to Corey, but hey, Corey, if I did, hey again. So also too, if you know female entrepreneurs that we haven't already interviewed because our list is very long and it's getting longer, then make sure that you have them to inbox either Morgan or myself. I know peers put a post on Facebook and our inbox is lit up like Christmas. Like my phone was just like ding, 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 ding. I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, so if you know female entrepreneurs that we would love to interview them on our show. All right, Corey, I just wanted to make sure. So we want to interview them. So inbox us, have them to reach out, give them how we do things. How the shows are on both of our pages, so you can recap what we've done before to kind of get a feel. I've actually had people say, "Okay, I need a list of the questions." No, we just ask general questions. It's not like it's so deep that you have to prepare for it like school. No, this is
Yeah.
a general conversation. That's it. So,
Exactly. Like you would just randomly be, meeting some people or sitting, at a bar or in a coffee house.
right, right,
And, someone asks you your opinion on something and, the person next to you chimes in and it becomes a whole thing.
yeah.
So,
One
yeah.
question leads to the other. That makes it natural. We don't want this
Yeah.
to be scripted. We want it to be natural and fun. So while you're answering a question, it something may pique my interest, and I ask another question, and then we just go on from there. And the next thing you know, we know all about you, except your blood type. That's about it.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm sure to for those donating purposes, we might need to know that, but not on here. Nah.
Yeah. Not here.
I promise you I'm okay. I haven't been smoking anything. I'm cool. It's just
You
that
can have
one.
a life and just like I said, it's that glow. It's that,
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. And
glow.
it's
Glow.
fire here in Texas. It was like 95 degrees today. I'm like, Jesus, what is going on? And
Yeah, it was about 80 here.
I usually put the thing in the windshield to kind of block out the sun and the heat, and I forgot to do it. And I went to pick Ariel up from school, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's so hot here!" So I've got to make sure I stay on top of that. But other than that, I'm not complaining because I could be knee deep in snow right now, so I'm happy.
Yeah, I was
Okay,
gonna say, you're not in Kansas anymore. We're not in Kansas anymore.
right, right. And I'm going to Chicago tomorrow, so I decided to check out how the weather would be, and it's going to be in the 60s. I'm like, no, no, I can't go from 80s and 90s down to 60s. So that changed everything that I was going to wear. Like, oh, I'm sad now, but that's okay. That's all right. I'll be back Sunday, so it's fine. So I'm not going to complain. Hey, as long as it doesn't snow or anything crazy happens and my flight gets delayed coming back, then I'm cool. Now, if that happens, then I'm annoyed for real.
Yeah, exactly. And we definitely don't need any snow. Close to June.
No, don't need that at all.
Not at
But
all.
today
Yes.
we have the beautiful Danielle Davenport here, who's going to talk to us about everything. Now, usually the way we do it is we have our guests backstage while me and Morgan kind of chop it up a little bit. But Danielle, you get to get all of that in today, which is fine. It's fun. You get to see how crazy we are, how we can be at different times. But since we already have you on here, but I still want Morgan to kind of, because you two know each other, I still want her to kind of give a little intro and then we'll get into having our conversation with you.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I actually met Danielle in high school. I was a freshman, and I believe she was I believe a junior, maybe. I want to say, yeah, like I think she
More. Don't make me older.
really. I don't,
Watch that.
really listen because we had classes together too, and I wasn't sure. I was like, and remember that algebra class we had like three. There were seniors, there were sophomores. At that, listen, I was just fresh meat. Okay,
Just one
I
year.
didn't know
Just
who
1
was
year.
what.
Just 1 year.
It was exactly. It was one.
Yeah,
It was 1
don't
year.
do that. Just 1 year.
Okay, so yes, 1 year between us, and it was just 1 year that I was like that I was at the school. But yes, so I said we had a couple of classes together. But Danielle was such like a sweet spirit. I really, really, really liked her and took on to her. And even after I left the school, went to other school, we still remained friends. And then over the years have as well. And life happens, we grow up, we get married, all these other kind of things. Danielle now, lives in Georgia. I'm still up this way. Yes. And
We're in Georgia. I'm gonna interrupt you for a minute because you said the magic word. Where in Georgia are you?
I'm up in Cherokee County.
Okay, I'm from Valdosta, way south.
Oh yeah, you down there.
Way, yeah. Okay, sorry, I had to just throw that in there. Georgia.
you're totally good. You're good. But yes, recently, I want to say most recently, Danielle had started a blog called One Spent Mom, and had sent out invites and stuff. As we start out ventures and things that we want. And I was like, oh, this is something that's fun. So I get in here, and it's like a really, really nice, cool, space. It's on Facebook, and there's different moms. So I invite some mom friends myself, and she provides this whole thing. And one day, I don't know what it was, but like I reached out to her, and I was dealing with postpartum depression. And I come now to say, and I've said to her a couple of times, I was like, she was like a postpartum doula for me. And I didn't even know it. She was an amazing support system. She was the most, when I say a lesson on listening, like I don't think I've ever had anyone really listen and then also hear me the way that she did, and especially in a time that you really do need that. You're very, very vulnerable. But at the same time, she was able to share, with me things that she's experienced as well, and being a mom, because she's got children close to Noah's age, but then she also has one that's a little older than mine as well. And because she has boys, this is someone who I'm like, oh, okay, well, like she's got a couple of years on me as far as like kids or, certain experiences. Let me ask about this. And what does this look like? And when this happens, like, how exactly did you handle this? And being able to have a person that you can call and ask real personal and real questions about, have those kind of conversations, no judgment zone. And then also, like I said, be supported. Is just a gem of a person. And so I wanted to be able to, bring on, my friend, my sister, like I said, everything in between, because she is just super, super special to me. And I feel like in the time that, we have spent both back and forth, she's definitely has something to share. She has a sweet spirit that I feel like people really need to be able to see, and to really just get a chance to experience Danielle in an element, and in certain places that she's trying to create a space for moms.
Awesome.
With all of
Awesome.
that,
Yeah. We had one more person come in. Hey, Catherine. So glad that you're here. Please share this out so others can be on. Hey, Danielle. So happy to have you on here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Hi, Corey. I saw your name pop up. And Morgan, you are so sweet. Thank you.
No problem.
You just look on your face like, wow. She's
like, I didn't know I had done all that. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I gotta
Thank you.
add that to I'm an emotional doula. I gotta add that.
Yes, most definitely. And most definitely, like when I said postpartum, when we were talking, about, Danielle had said something about, thinking about being a doula. I'm like, girl, that is most definitely your calling. Like I said,
Mm,
the way that she supported me, and especially like postpartum, that's that fourth trimester. That's the thing that we live with for the rest of our lives. And scientifically, as far as our body, it actually is up to 7 years. So if you have
wow.
a 7-year-old, you're just ending your actual postpartum period. If you have any children underneath that, you're still in that.
Yeah, child,
So
I got an everything-year-old.
yeah,
Wow. That's amazing. Okay. So explain that to me. That's interesting that 7 years of being in that. It takes our bodies that long. So it's more than just the physical, it's the mental and emotional aspect, I'm gonna
yeah,
assume, from that
absolutely.
for
Absolutely.
7
With
years.
every
That's
single
wow.
baby, your body, your mind, your blood, everything changes.
Oh yeah,
Everything
I
changes.
definitely jacked. My body's definitely jacked. I can tell you that.
Amen.
Every
Amen.
child did something different. My first child, I thought that nothing could be worse than that pregnancy that I had. I'm like nothing. And then my second and third child were okay. And then Ariel, oh my God, Ariel almost took me out. And I'm like, what's really going on? So yeah, I can understand. It took me a while to bounce back from that. And I still to this day, now that I think about it, I still have some issues. And she's 8. Like,
Yep, yep.
whoa.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm,
So, like I said, the calling is definitely there. Um because there's also like I said, a spirit of service, but then it's a support and understanding, the empathy, and these are things that can't be taught.
right.
These are things that are just honestly who you are. And like I said, for her to do it naturally, I was like, girl, might as well just put postpartum doula on your resume already, and go through a training for certification purposes. But
Right.
I was like, you got the sauce, okay?
Well, I mean, I really didn't. I guess for me, the reason I won't say it came naturally, but I struggled with postpartum with all three of my kids. And so with my oldest, I didn't know what it was. I just thought I was going crazy. Like I
Mm,
knew something wasn't right. And I had no patience for anyone. I was irritable. I was short tempered. I never had like, when you think of postpartum, you think of I want to hurt myself or hurt my baby, or like those are the questions that you get from your doctor. I didn't have any of that. I was not right. I didn't feel right emotionally. I felt sad. Like I said, I was irritable all the time. I had no patience for mainly adults. I was
mm,
overwhelmed. I was exhausted because I had a newborn. I wasn't sleeping. Um, and so all those things that happened, my body was going crazy. I was trying to nurse, but I was failing at that.
mm,
Like I said, all the things. And I was having to go back to work. And so I was dealing with the emotions behind that. But I didn't know what was wrong with me. I couldn't put a voice behind it. And then I constantly had people coming in because everybody wants to see the baby. And I was sitting back in the corner drowning. Like, I don't want all these people in my face and in my house.
mm.
But I didn't know how to verbalize that. So when I had baby number 2, I finally had to say, I can't do this the way I did the first one. And I told that to my husband. And he's like, well, why didn't you tell me before? I'm like, I didn't know how to tell you before.
Mm,
And what made me figure out that something was really wrong is I went to the grocery store and I was standing in front of rice and I just started sobbing. Like I was
mm,
staring at the rice sobbing and I was like, what the heck is wrong with me?
mm.
And so I had to communicate something is not right. And when I did that, it was like a weight was lifted.
Wow.
And my husband was a great support system for me. And so once he did that, it was like, yeah, I still had the issue, but I didn't feel by myself in it anymore.
Mm,
And so then I was like, you know what? I think other women probably need help with this. And so I wanted to start writing. And I've always been pretty good at writing, but I felt like I needed to put it out toward other people. And so I told my husband, I think I want to start a blog because I feel like other women probably deal with the same thing and they might not have the support that I have. And so I want to start a blog to help other moms. And so he's like, go for it. And so that's when One Spent Mom came about.
Wow.
And I just started writing my feelings about the conundrum of motherhood, the guilt that you feel if you're a working mom, if you have to go back to work and leave your kids in daycare, the guilt that you feel about you love being around your kids, but you want a break because sometimes it gets to be overwhelming. You love being with your baby. And at that time, I only had 2. And I loved like when I would come home from work and I'd have my older one and I have my baby, but I would be exhausted from being at work all day. And I didn't want somebody on me all the time. I mean, those are the things that you deal with, the real feelings about being a mom. But you know what? Nobody tells you that's totally normal and it's okay to feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to sometimes say, I don't like my kid right now. That's okay. You don't always have to like your kids. And I wanted to make a safe space for moms to feel that and say, you're not crazy. What you feel, what you're feeling is totally normal. And it's okay to say that you feel that way.
You know, now that I think back to my last Ariel, and she's 8, I remember one night, for some reason, she would not go to sleep. It was in the middle of the night. I was already tired. She was probably, I don't know, a month or 2 old. And I remember walking downstairs and I was with her and I was so angry because I was tired and I wanted to get some sleep and she's crying and I tried to feed her and I was nursing her really well. But it was like, it was something. And I just remember that anger, just holding her like, oh my God, will you just be quiet and go to sleep? I just need some sleep. So I probably was having those issues because I remember just bawling at different points and thinking, oh, my hormones are out of whack. They'll get, normalized after a while. And that might have not really been the case. So I think at identifying that early and getting the help. But one thing key that you said that stuck out to me was having that support system. And you did have that with your husband. And we don't know what he was thinking after you told him how you were feeling when he said, well, why didn't you tell me before? You didn't know how, but the fact that he said, okay, we're going to handle this now and was supportive, that's great because not many people have that. And then I think about moms who end up just never recovering from that. And it's not a good thing. So I'm glad that you have the blog. So Smack says, especially in Black families, they don't believe this exists. I think it's pride and not being educated about postpartum depression. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. What are your thoughts on that, Danielle?
I definitely agree. It's funny you say that because my mom had just mentioned this to me a couple of weeks ago. I had said something to her about postpartum, and I just mentioned it. We were talking about something different. Someone else had had a baby, and I mentioned postpartum and about how, because when I dealt with it, such and such, and she goes, you didn't have postpartum depression. I said, yeah, I did. I had it with all 3 of the kids. And she said, I didn't know you had postpartum depression. I'm like, yeah, I did with all 3 of them. And I would bring up different examples. And she's like, oh, well, I didn't think that was postpartum. And that generation, they just didn't look at things like that and consider that as supposed. So that is exactly accurate.
Right.
Because
lack of education there. Yeah.
Exactly. And plus, I mean, she could have dealt with it and they just didn't know. For them, that was normal. You just deal with stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I can also say that there was also a change that happened around the time that your mom or our moms were born. Because before that, we had midwives. There was postpartum care. And when the healthcare system came in and swept the midwives out of our communities and shuffled in that it's better to have the baby in the hospital, and now you know what I mean? And now it's, well, don't have this person come, don't have this person come, don't do this and don't do that and don't do that. Now we have created an actual postpartum issue that wasn't originally there. Or
Mm,
when it was there, it was able to be supported in a way that, we were able to, whether it was herbs, whether it was eating your placenta, whether it was, certain rituals, belly binding, whatever, like all of these different things that culminate into helping the whole, person heal,
mhm.
because the reality is you're a whole new person. Like you said, you had postpartum with all three of your babies, and each one of those scenarios was different.
Yep.
That's because each one of those babies brought in a completely different space, ushered in a completely different hormonal balance, all of these different things. And so, having to even navigate and to be able to say, okay, wait, this isn't like this last time, but I still know that something isn't right, at least from what my last normal was. You
Mhm.
have to be able to open up and say, hey, there's something wrong, or be able to at least recognize in self. And sometimes that self denial is it too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want anything to be wrong, or, to have to admit that there's something wrong means that you're a failure. Or I know for me, I was scared that someone was going to take my kids.
Mm.
If I go get help, what happens to my baby? Because they're going to want to put me on medication. Now I can't breastfeed my child. Now my child has to have formula. I'm not going to go get help.
Mm. Those are real. That's real. And you said something, Morgan, about how things were years ago when they took out the midwives. So women were getting the care and the attention that they needed. And then when healthcare came in, they just stripped all of that. So it wasn't broken. It didn't need to be fixed or changed. And so now you introduce all of this other stuff that's not working, definitely not working in our favor. And so
Right.
many women are suffering. But that how it trickles, that thought process, because I never would have thought I'm not going to get help because they're going to put me on medication, then I can't breastfeed, and then they're going to take my kids. Like all that stuff will literally drive someone crazy and make things worse and not better. Wow, that's so. When you started your blog, tell us about that process. I know you started. How was like that first week or first couple of episodes that you did? How was that?
Well, I mean, I felt like I had a lot to say. So
Mhm.
it was mainly just me writing a lot of things. And then I felt like I needed to reach more people quicker. Because, I mean, you
Mhm.
can't, so many people aren't going to come to a website if they don't know about the website. And
Mhm.
so I started a Facebook page,
Okay.
and that got more traction. And then I felt like, well, people are coming to the page, but I kind of want something a little bit more intimate. And so that's when I started the Spent Moms Connection group, which is
Mm.
a private group on Facebook. And it's only women allowed, and it's moms of every stage in life. So we have grandmothers in the group, we have moms of teenagers, moms of infants. As long as you're a mom, you can be in the group.
Mhm.
And basically, you can share whatever you want in that group. My motto is what happens in the group stays in the group. And sometimes I post personal stuff in there. And I don't care. It could be something as simple as I'm having a horrible day. My kids got on my last nerve. I don't like anybody in my house right now. That's it. That's the post. But
Mm.
sometimes you need a space to be able to say that. And I
Right.
wanted to make a space to say that. And so I started that group, I believe, maybe 3 years ago now. But it was shortly after the blog because I felt like me being able to write my feelings wasn't enough. I wanted to other women to be able to write back and write what they were feeling as well and express their feelings. So to me, that was equally as important.
Mhm.
And so that's when the connection group started. And I also wanted to be able to help to promote the other moms out there, like Morgan. And we had a few other moms that were doing really great things. And so the Spent Moms Connection group definitely is the best place for things like that.
Mhm. And so you still have your blog, you still are really active with that?
I don't write as much anymore now. My kids are getting a little bit older. And so now that everybody's in school and I don't get time as much to write anymore, but I still
Mhm.
am very active on with everything with Facebook.
Okay.
So I limit everything to Facebook and some Instagram as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's mainly where I primarily do all of my Spent Mom stuff right now.
So I'm sure you've received a lot of messages about thanking you for starting that and making that space for them because that was so needed. Have you had any without giving out anything, very specific, any emergency situations where you've had to refer them out or help them get through something on a more personal level? Because I know you just never know what's going to be posted in there, but you want to make sure everyone is safe. Has it gotten that intense for you?
I have had private messages that way. Um,
Mhm.
and I try to make sure that I have access to like websites because everybody obviously does not live in the same area. So I try
Mhm.
to make sure I keep access to certain websites to where if somebody needs help, we can, direct them to the right place in their
Mhm.
area because I'm not an expert. I'm just a mom that
Right.
wants to help other moms, but I don't want anybody to feel ashamed or embarrassed. If you need help at that level, get the help you need. And there's nothing wrong with saying,
Mhm.
I need more help than this
Yeah.
because this is a
Right.
start and this is great. But if you need more than what I can offer you or the other moms in the group, then get the help you need because, like I said, there's nothing wrong. You don't need to be ashamed about that.
Mhm.
It's totally normal. We can't help what our bodies go through.
Right. Right.
And the best thing you can do is communicate it.
Right. I wish I had had that kind of real support when 3 of my 4 kids were young, because I moved from Georgia to Ohio, and my son was 5 months, and then my daughter was 4, and the other one was 6, and we moved to a place we had no family, no friends, we knew no one, and I was breastfeeding my son. I had to do everything myself, every single thing. And I just remember, and I'm not, ashamed to say it. I just remember one day because I would have to drive across a bridge back and forth to from work to where we lived. It was about 40 minutes from my job, and it was over the Ohio River. And I just remember a couple times, like, you know what, I should just drive straight off this bridge into the water because I was so tired and so overwhelmed with everything, with doing the girls' hair and pumping and breastfeeding and getting up at 4 in the morning. And, on the weekends, I needed to rest, but I wanted to do things with them so they wouldn't stay cooped up in the house. It was just so many things. And I remember just being totally mentally spent and not having anybody that I really could get the support. So I applaud you for doing that because even now, in the way the world is now, it's just worse. It's harder now. And we really need that support. Women need that support, not only when the children or babies are little, but even as they get older, like, my kids are teenagers. Some of them want to choke, like, oh my God, what's going on? I cannot. My son, I remember he was acting out and I put him out the house. I'm like, you got to go. He's like, what? I think he might have been, I don't know, 15 or 16. And he was just bawling, crying. He's like, Mom, you're putting me out. Yeah, you gotta go. You gotta go. His sister went and got him and he came back and he was all apologetic and I didn't have any more issues out of him because like, yeah, I am not doing this. You gotta go. So there's different stages of things. Yeah, it's like different stages and they do things but you still have to deal with that mental exhaustion, emotional exhaustion from the different stages of their lives, just like you,
Mhm. You
so
do.
yeah, yeah,
You do. And it doesn't, I mean, just because your kids get older, it doesn't change. I mean, you still, like you said, you have your own exhaustion and your own things that you're trying to get done and you're trying to keep up with all of their stuff. And it's a lot.
yeah.
Like I was saying before, I have kids at all different stages. I have a teenager, so I totally get that because he will work my last. Hmm. And then I have a 6-year-old
Mhm.
and I have a 4-year-old
Okay.
who is a girl, and she is the only girl, and she is the baby,
Oh,
and she's built different
mhm,
than the boys,
mhm.
and I was not ready.
Yeah, I think there was really something in the water that year, Danielle. Like every 4-year-old I know, every mom says the same thing. Like, I don't know what we ate in that gestational period, but we birthed some
She's
no
different.
limit soldiers, okay?
Wow.
She is different.
So how do you balance everything that you have going on and then, your children at the different stages? Some we never know who's watching now or what moms will watch later that may not be connected with you as of yet, but they will after tonight about balancing that out because this so much involved in it. And if you've dealt with postpartum or you haven't really gotten out of it and you have all these kids and you're working and you have a house and all of that, how do you balance that? What works for you?
Prayer. um,
I know, right?
prayer.
I got to
Um,
pray.
right. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Most days I feel like I don't know what I'm doing.
Mm,
Just to be totally honest. Like, I still don't know what I'm doing. I tell my kids that mommy does not know what she's doing most days. Me and my husband will tell my oldest son sometimes, you were the experiment. You are the guinea pig. We have never had a kid your age before. So what we do with you, we're figuring it out. So by the time they get there, we'll know what to do and what not to do. So most days I'm just winging it. But my husband has taught me to calendar everything because I cannot rely on my memory because I don't remember anything. So I have to calendar everything. I have to set reminders, which I'm learning to do better because I'm still not great at it. But basically, I live on a calendar because I have to keep everything scheduled because they are at different stages and they have, their extracurricular activities and one is here and one is there. And I work a little bit too. So, trying to figure out everybody's everything to keep them on a schedule. So, I mean, it is a lot, but everything manages to get done. But honestly, I mean, you have to try to figure out what works for you. And for me, I have to have everything kind of written out. So
yeah.
between my reminders and Google Calendar, and like I said, that's a shout out to my husband because I was not always this organized, and I'm still a work in progress in that vein.
Right, right. Trial and error. That's man, I've lived by that. Like, okay, let me try this, and then no, this isn't working, so let me try something else. And then just saying this is not working. I'm not okay. Okay, let me figure this out. Let me go at it another way, come at it from another direction. Because like you said, we weren't given manuals when we had kids. Like, here,
No,
read this. This is gonna tell you everything you need to know, and it would have been a lie because all kids are different. All of them. You're talking about your youngest, she's 4 and girl. My youngest is a girl, and she's from the other three, it's like night and day. Like, they are a lot alike. They have their own personalities, but how she is, it's like, oh my God, who are you? Where did you come from? Like, you what?
exactly.
So every day is something new. Like, oh God, I can't. And so my cousin here, she just looks at me. I'm like, I just no. I don't know what to say. Let me just go over here and sit down because I can't. I can't deal with that right now.
Yeah,
But to
I get it.
just yeah, go ahead, Morgan.
I was gonna say, talk about how the different stages, like you said, it's you've got to calendar things out, and you're shuffling them here and there. But how has your husband seen the different stages? Because dads, they take on a completely different role.
Oh
So
yeah.
how does your husband insert himself into different things? Because I know he's very involved. So like how do you guys work that out, and even co-parenting, like even like let's say this one wants to do something and you feel like he should be able to, but he's like, yeah, no. Like, how do you guys, even deal with something like that?
Well, I have to say, my husband he's great. Like, he does not miss anything. Like,
Mm.
he's at everything. He coaches basketball. He coached football. Like, he's there. My daughter dances. He goes to ballet practice. Like, he's there for everything. And if he can't go to ballet, he'll tell her daddy has to do such and such. And my daughter's love language is stuff. Like she likes gifts. So if he can't go to ballet, she's like, okay, are you going to buy me something?
Oh, wow. That's funny.
It doesn't matter what it is. It could be something from the Dollar Tree. Okay. She don't care. She just wants something.
All right.
And he's like, okay, yeah, fine. She's like, okay, she don't care. But he's very present, is my point. So we always manage to work it out. Whereas, God forbid, I can't or he can't. One of us is always there for everything. So we pretty much juggle the calendar pretty well. Again, he coaches, so sporting events, he's always got that. He's actually at practice with my oldest right now, but he's very hands-on as far as parenting, especially with the boys. So usually when it comes to stuff with them, especially my teenager, I always say, ask your dad. Like when it comes to his stuff, and especially now that he's older, go ask your dad, go talk to your dad about it. With my daughter, it's different. You know, she's a girl. So, of course, you know, it's usually mommy. And depending on what it is, a lot of times I'll hear him say, go talk to your mom. Or my son will come and say, Dad told me to talk to you. Or I'll hear him in the background go, what did your mama just say? So depending on what it is, he'll defer them to me. But usually, like I said, with my older son, I'll send him to his dad because usually it's stuff that he needs to talk to him about anyway.
Yeah.
It's usually guys at this age. So I'm like, no, you talk to that one. Talk to me about it. Talk to Dad.
Go over there.
Go see your father.
Well, shout out to your husband and his hands on with the kids. That is amazing. Hey, Laura, so happy that you're on here. Share this with someone. You said something, and Morgan, it just sparked another topic for me, for us. You were talking about the love languages of kids, and that can be so helpful. And I see how it can tie in because my brain's always flipping here and turning, but I can see how that can tie in to even help with motherhood if we know those love languages of our kids. Because your daughter, clearly she likes, gifts. So that's hers, but everybody's different. And then maybe that'll I'm not saying it's going to 100% alleviate the pressure and the stress, but it may help a little bit because I know this one in here, she is a clingy mama. So she likes, but she loves gifts too. So every time we go in the store, it's like, Mom, can I get something? No, every single time. So that is important. But I don't want to take away from your husband, and shout out to him and all the dads and partners that are active in the children's lives and helping out. Shout out to you.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Our host says, she said, lived and first time experiences are the best.
Are they really? I think they're a little on the scary side, but probably because you have a template to go by, I guess.
Absolutely. I was like, really, I was like, the fear of things. I feel you, Danielle. I feel like I'm winging it every day. And you're right. I do. I walk around and I tell the kids all the day, every day, like, I really don't know what I'm doing. Like, bear with me. I'm still learning. My oldest, I'm like, listen, I went to therapy today so that now I can tell you what I just learned. Okay. Like, we're literally dealing with the same thing right now, buddy. Like, so here, listen up.
So we're going to go through this together. We're going to deal with this together. Let's talk it out.
Exactly. So, I mean, I sometimes like being a mother or even a parent is not really even about authority. It is knowing your child's love language. It is being able to get down on their level. And for some of us, like, I honestly can remember when I was 12. It was a while ago, but I can remember when I was 12. I can remember when I was 13. And I can remember feeling the way that he feels when he tells me certain things. Like, you know what I mean? He's at school and, something happened. He's like, this is how it made me feel. And I'm like, wow. It's almost sometimes like looking in the mirror because, you feel, the pain of, being a mom and like, dang, my baby's hurting. But then it's like, I know exactly what he's feeling because experienced that. You know what I mean? How do you navigate, I guess empathizing and being there for your children, but then at the same time, keeping that boundary, sometimes, because like my son, sometimes I have to remind him, like, listen, we're cool, but we're not that cool. Like, you don't get to take that tone with me. So fix it. Like, you still can catch these hands. Like,
right?
All day.
Rated E for everyone. It's hard because, like, especially with my older one, like, he never like really gets out of pocket with me because he knows his dad will lay him out. Like, he doesn't really, but like, I want him to be open enough to tell me stuff, especially at his age and with girls and stuff. Like, I want us to be able to have that open dialogue. And so he'll mention certain girls or certain things about girls, and if I don't think that she's an appropriate female, I will tell him with certain words. And he'll be like, Mom. And I'm like, hey, you know what that is. You're old enough. Whatever. Right. But I mean, with my younger two, obviously, it's a little bit different. But it is hard because it's like, at the end of the day, they're still your babies. And so you still have that like protective instinct. And so it does bother you when things bother them, because your natural instinct is to want to protect them and fix it. But you have to teach them how to fix it for themselves.
Right.
So I still struggle with that. Like, how do I show them how to navigate through this without just going in and fixing it for them?
Right.
Because, especially like somebody's picking on your kid or whatever, like, I have to struggle with, no, Danielle, you cannot go and fight another child, like, because I want to.
That was me like 2 days ago.
Yeah. Like last week.
Like, that's I was
like, I want children. Come on.
That's being real. Like, my 6-year-old, oh my gosh, he is so sweet and yummy, and that is my baby, because like, I had trouble getting pregnant the second time. My oldest is 14, my middle is 6. That was not planned. That was not on purpose. We tried for 4 years. That is my miracle baby right there. When I tell you miracle, like, literally, we went up for prayer finally after 4 years. And we told one of the elders at the church we were at the time what was going on. He prayed over us, told us to find scriptures about fertility and put them in our room. We did that. And exactly 4 weeks later, I was pregnant. Okay.
Oh, wow.
That's my miracle. So when I tell you, we don't play about that one.
Yeah.
That boy squeezed hard. My husband's like, what's wrong with him? Like that, we're extra over that one. So if he says somebody picked on him on the bus, I'm ready to get on the bus. Okay. He only in kindergarten. So I'm ready to take out somebody's kindergartner. So it's hard, like, finding that balance. But then you can't fix all their problems for them.
Yeah.
So,
and then we have to teach them at some point. We have to start teaching them some independence, and it's hard to pull back. It is, because you were so accustomed to doing everything, and now it's like, oh yeah, I might want to let you do that. But for me, it's having the patience to let them learn to do that instead of just saying, just move, I'll do it. No, just stand back and just let them figure it out and maneuver it, and just stand there. And that's hard for me.
Which is hard.
Because
we want it'd be quicker if we do it.
Right. Absolutely.
Quicker and less messy and all of that if we just do it.
Right. Yeah, as I'm standing there watching you spill the flour all over the floor, like, oh my God.
Well, God definitely wrote, like, I'm going to give Morgan a real big lesson when he gave me Noah. Because, like, I don't have any choice but to let him do. Like, that's not a child who allows you to do anything for. Like, when I say temper tantrum, if you don't want a temper tantrum, just let him figure it out. Yeah, I was like, the moment you start stepping in, and my oldest is very giving. He's very doting. He's very, here, let me help you. Sometimes overly conscientious. So I'm like, Just leave him.
Let him do it.
Just
Let
leave him, please.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So yes,
Motherhood. The stories we share. The
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. What
Yeah,
advice do you have for a new mother that does not have a support system?
that's a good one.
I would definitely say join the Spit Moms Connection group for one, because you will find lots of moms like myself, Morgan. There are other great women in there that would be more than happy to support you and help you um, get through what you're dealing with. Um, Definitely, if you have friends that you can talk to, look for support groups in your area. Almost every major city has a mother's group. So go online and just look for groups in where you live. Because even if you don't personally know someone, there are places out there that you can go and meet people that are going through the same exact things you're going through.
Mhm.
But you are not alone. That's the most important thing you need to know. You are not by yourself.
I think you just need to connect with Danielle and let her help you. Let her get you where you need to be in your respective city because yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You have that, and I agree with Morgan. You have that heart because you understand, and it's good. Like I think Smack said about being life and experience are the best teachers because now that you've gone through all that you have with your three kids, now you can help other mothers who may not have the support. They don't know where to go, so they can come to One Spent Mom. Is that One Spent Mother?
One Spent Mom is
One Spent Mom.
yes, that's the Facebook page is One Spent
Mhm.
Mom, and then the group is called the Spent Moms Connection Group.
There you are. Y'all heard it from her yourself. That way you can join. So, yeah, absolutely. I just wish I don't want to turn back the hands of time, but going forward, well, I'm not having any more kids, so I don't have to worry about that ever again. But for those that will, yeah, no, I'm good and done.
No, but definitely jump in the group because listen, with Danielle sometimes pops in there with these videos, and I'm telling you, sometimes it's like exactly what you need, whether it's like a pick me up, like affirmation, or her just being real, having a real mom moment, and you are like busted over sideways like, yo, I feel
Yes.
so much right now,
Yes.
and
Oh,
it's
trust me, I'm going to join. I am
like,
because that one in
it's so
there.
necessary.
In
It's
there
so
gonna sit
necessary.
me. Yeah, I am wanting to get this girl today. Somebody better help me. Hey, Star,
Exactly.
I
And
see you
listen,
on here.
there are people who will literally comment back like,
Yes, and that's the great.
you can put her in a box and eat and like it's
Yes, that's the
that
great
extra
part. Like
thing,
different people that don't know you will be commenting like, "Same girl, same," and they will share
exactly.
their
We'll sell her
story.
on Etsy. Like exactly. We'll be
Yes,
like exactly.
I want to put a nice picture up and say 8-year-old for rent. Who wants her? I'm renting her out. That Star says, that's my girl from Arizona. She said, mothering is hard. Single mothering is a whole mother beast. I think she meant another. Support group is an absolute must. Yes. And I was a single parent with my kids, so I completely get it. Completely. So having that support is absolutely 100% necessary. Oh Lord, we lost Danielle. What happened? Then her computer died. That happens to Dr. V all the time. She'll just her phone will die, computer will die. It's like, oh, so we're like mid conversation and gone, just done.
I'm surprised that hasn't actually happened to us because if you ask any of like my closest friends, that definitely happens all the time. So
Hey, I'm sitting here now with mine plugged up because
yeah,
I know that these
I'm
things
always plugged in when we do this here. I don't
no.
need to chance that.
So for you moms on there, whether you're single or married, this motherhood thing is real. It never ends. My kids are 20, 23. Caleb will be 24 in next week. 21, 17, and 8. And it just never, it's just a different stage and different things that they deal with, but it's still, yeah, it's still all there. But it's so I am appreciative of what Danielle is doing, what she has done these past few years. And I hope that someone shares this with a mom, or a mom sees it and joins the Facebook group and then the other support connection and get the help that you need. You don't have to go through it by yourself. You do not, because believe it or not, there's at least one other mom that's going through the same thing. So the QR code is on the screen. Scan it with your phone and subscribe to the House of Peach. That way you can stay abreast of when we are on live, which is every Tuesday at 7:15, right on this platform where you are, and all the other things is popping up on there. We everywhere. We are everywhere. We're like, oh, I don't know.
Exactly.
Corey says hers are 40, 36, 32, and 16. Oh, yeah, that's right. She is all boys. Like,
Oh, boys.
more power to you.
Okay, yeah, Corey, you and I, we definitely need to talk because
You are the goat.
it is so hard in this all boy land. You know what I mean? It is
I'm
rough at times,
cool.
and I feel you. You said when you say like, what happens if you don't like them and they're grown and they're adults? Well, listen, as an adult child myself, I can say that, sometimes that's just what happens. And, I feel like it's part of the circle of life.
Because I know sometimes I don't like my adult ones. Like, yeah, I'm not liking you right now. I don't feel like talking,
Yeah.
whatever. But you're still always gonna be there for them. You just may not like some of the decisions that they make, but
Exactly.
at the end of the day, we're still mom, and we always have that pulling and tugging. I know for me, that pulling and tugging in my heart, even though I'm upset with you. Okay, what's wrong? All right, let me put that to the side. We'll burn those phone lines up. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, Danielle Davenport on. Maybe she'll get back on before soon if she gets plugged up. Talking about postpartum. There she is. Is
There
she
we
back?
go.
We lost power. I don't know why,
Oh
Oh no.
no.
but
We
it's back.
thought your laptop died.
I'm back.
We
Can
can
you
see
see
you.
her?
I can see you guys, but I can't see
Okay.
myself.
Okay.
Well, we're just gonna talk to you like this. I can't see
Why are you so sad?
your faces. Like, I don't want to look at a black screen.
If you could poke your lip out
Oh my
for the
God. I'm extra. You already know me, Morgan. I don't even know why you asked. Like, why you look like that? This is me. This is who I am. Come on. This is what I do. I'm animated. I'm extra. You know what? This is where Ariel gets it from.
I was gonna say, you know what? That is my daughter. She is so dramatic.
Oh, really? Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Shar says adulting and mothering at the same time. You women are phenomenal. Don't even know how you found the time. Well, yes, sometimes you just kind of get in that predicament and you just got to roll with it.
You look, you said that was a word right there.
I don't know that I'm adulting.
In it, so roll with it, you know?
You don't know what, Danielle?
I don't know that I'm adulting. I'm mothering. I don't know that I'm adulting.
My daughter
All right,
tells
well,
me all
listen,
the
I'm
time.
supposed to be planning a trip to Georgia, so I will make sure that I make a pit stop just so we can
Please
adult,
do.
okay? Without any kids. Yeah, I'm not coming. I'm not coming to Georgia with the kids. So
Ooh, oh my goodness. Make sure you make it back home, okay? Or Noah's gonna hunt you down. He's gonna snoop
Yes, he
you
will.
out. I knew
hilarious.
she went to Georgia. Just get me across the state line. I'll find her. He will find you.
Exactly. And he'll be like, I know where she's at. She's at the aquarium. Like he's like,
Oh, he's gonna find you. He
he's
will
gonna
find
find me.
you.
We're not
Oh
coming with
yeah,
the kids.
absolutely. Yeah. Corey says she'll give both kidneys to her kids and need one, but to be a mother is not for the faint at heart, for sure. Hats off to all the dedicated mothers. That's right. It
Absolutely.
is
Yes.
not. It requires 100% dedication because
Absolutely.
we do a lot. Now we have support. Some of us have support. Well, some have had support from husbands or partners or whomever that's there 100% and really supporting them. And that's great. But at the end of the day, that baby, when you bring them home, relies on you 100%. And we then, as they grow, there's more and more and more, but they're still coming for mama regardless. They're still
Yeah.
coming for mama. And we have to just be there and do what's necessary. It's a lot. It is a lot to be a mom. And then I did it 4 times. Like, what was I thinking?
I think we've all had that thought at some
Yeah.
point in time, but
Oh
hopefully the goal is to, on the other end of things, when we have allowed them to blossom into who
Yeah.
they're supposed to be, we are like, well done, God, and thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah.
Pat
I'm seeing
yourself
that.
on the back, you know.
Yeah, I'm seeing that with the older three because when I left New Jersey coming here, all they had was me, and so I was their safety net. If anything happened, mom was there, and so now I have been removed from the equation. I'm here, and they're having to stand on their own feet. And I'm seeing what I deposited into them. And I was like, oh my God. And I just constantly have been telling them since I've been here, I'm so proud of you. You're doing so well. Like we have my daughters, they have their own plates. My oldest has 2 kids and she's working. She's tired and exhausted, but she's taking care of them. I'm proud of her. My son, he graduates in a couple of weeks from high school and hasn't given me any issues where I've had to go get him out of jail, any of that. So it's like I see what I taught them and how it was and how it works. So now I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna stand back and watch y'all go. Yay! That's how I am. And then there's Ariel. I bumped my head when I had her, evidently, because I still got a long way to go with that one. So but it's all right. I love her just the same. She's a sweetheart.
You're a Jersey girl too?
Huh?
You're a Jersey girl too?
I lived there for 4 years. I'm a Georgia girl, but I lived in Jersey. I just left there at the end of March.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, she's originally from Jersey.
Yeah.
I'm a Georgia girl at heart, but yeah, I've lived a lot of places, just a lot. But
Okay. See, I'm a Jersey girl at heart, but
okay, all right. So Shar says, let me go back. Corey says, right, she breastfed all of her kids, got plenty of love, but the milk is gone.
but you know, it's so funny you say that because I breastfed my last 2. I tried with my oldest and it did not work out. And I did with my middle one. My middle one and my youngest are 21 months apart. I literally breastfed him until I went to the hospital to have my daughter.
Oh wow!
I breastfed my daughter until she was 2.5.
None of the ones that I did breastfeed, they didn't. Ariel, my youngest, was the only one that breastfed up until she was 1. The other ones, they were like, after a few months, they're like, I'm done. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? But I was like, he was my first one. And that's what made me think about the postpartum because I remember being in the hospital and the lactation consultant coming in and trying to show me how to get her latched. And I don't feel like she gave me enough support with making sure that I knew what I was doing. So I remember being at home and trying to breastfeed her and it wasn't working. I remember crying and crying. And then when my milk came in, it's like, okay, what do I do? And I wasn't calm enough to think, just pick her up and try to get her latched. I'm like, I got to do something about this because my milk has come in and I got to put her on formula instead. And I didn't have that support to say, here, let me try to help you do that. And so I'm crying because I want to breastfeed my baby and I can't. And I'm out here looking around like, is anybody can help me? No, there was nobody. So that's really difficult to deal with. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, well, it was mainly a comfort for her at that point. Like she did it at night to go to sleep. But to this day, she will, because by that age, she was calling my chest night because she only did it at night to go to sleep. Mm-hmm. So to this day, she still calls my breast night.
Oh, wow.
She'll say, Mommy, is all the night gone? And I'm like, yes, because you drank it all.
I told you, night
water. The night is gone.
Like, that is gone.
She's 4, you said?
She's 4, and every now and
Oh,
then,
wow.
if
That
she
is
like, if she
funny.
walks in my bathroom and I'm getting out the shower, she'll go, "Mommy, all the night is gone." Yes, it's gone.
Wow.
Drink it
Wow.
off. It's gone.
Says her second born turns 29 today, and I know all her kids, and to see these numbers is baffling to me. And she has a set of twins. They turn 21 tomorrow. Just found out that her son, because she only has one, has been skydiving. She said it scares me to watch the growth. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh wow.
hey, but you raised them. You did a phenomenal job with your kids, Char. I just want you to know that you did amazing. I watched those kids grow, and you did
Yeah.
great with
You
them.
got to trust in what you're putting in. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If you really are about the job and
Yeah.
you really are about your children and trying to cultivate and help them grow into whom they're supposed to be, like, of course it's going to be scary, but it's one of those things, like when you watch them finally get those steps in and you don't have to catch them, and you're like, oh my gosh, like you got it, like this, that is like the most exciting thing. Like I cannot wait to get to that point. Well, I mean, obviously in stages you get excited about the different growth and stuff, but I feel like once you get to that adult age, and now it's like, the input that you're putting in is different now. You know what I mean? A lot of certain things, hopefully you would have gotten that in before they're 18 and they start to really venture out a little bit more. But to be able to, see the fruits of your labor is, I think the most rewarding thing about,
Yeah.
about motherhood.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I started practicing before I left Jersey coming here of not giving the answer, telling them what they should do. And my oldest daughter, she was going between like a couple of places to move into. And so she's like, well, which one should I take? No, that's your decision. I said, why don't you just make a list of the pros and cons of both? And then you make the decision because you're the one that's going to live there, not me. And I want you happy with where you are and not saying, well, mom, you told me to move here. This is wrong and this is wrong. Mom's not doing that. And she's like, well, why would you just tell me where to move? Because you're an adult and I got to back up and let you do it and trust what you have. I've taught you all these years of being with me. You see how I maneuver. We've lived a lot of places. So you know what I look for. You know how I like for us to live. If that's what you like, then you'd go for that. And so she chose well. So yeah, it was hard. Oh my God. Like you say, trusting their process and trusting what you put in them. That's yeah. You want to just step in and say, okay, oh, I gotta back up. All right, I'm gonna stay here and let you do that. Yeah. That's Danielle. You're gonna, as they grow, you're going to see. You're going to see, and I don't know. You might say, "Oh, go do your thing. I got it. Go ahead. Yeah, handle that. I'm good. I'm over here. You need me? Call me. Just go. Yeah, do that." But it was hard for me. It was.
No, I'm sure it will be difficult because I mean, even certain things now, it's
Mhm.
hard, letting go of the reins and watching them
Yeah.
do their own thing. I mean, even with he's about to be in first grade because school here ends on Thursday. But
Mhm.
like when he started kindergarten, his teacher pretty much told us they need to be able to open their own juice boxes. They need to be able to, like, she laid out all the things that they had to be able to do. She said, because
Oh wow.
I am their teacher, I am not their mother. I am
Mhm.
not going to do for them here at school what you do for them at home. So you need to stop doing those things so that they can figure out how to do it for themselves when they're here.
Oh
So I had
wow.
to stop doing things for him that I always did. And he would ask me, well, mommy, I can't figure out how to get this in. And I'm like, you have to, because I'm not at school with you. You got to figure it out.
Mhm.
And so I had to sit there and watch him struggle until he got it. And
Wow.
eventually he got it, and then it's no problem. But I
And
mean, that's
well,
hard.
Jeffrey, and how was that for you? Because I know you wanted to really step in, and how did you keep yourself from doing that to
Yeah.
allow him to get to that point?
It was really hard,
Mhm.
but I understood her point. It wasn't
Yeah.
out of malice. And I think when you know someone's coming out of a place of love, it's
Mhm.
easier. to do that. And like I said, I understood her point. She is one person to a bunch of kids. And
Yeah.
so she can't sit there and open everybody's everything because she's not going to get anything done all day. And so at some point, they do have to be able to function on their own to a certain point. So, I mean, I had to let him. I showed him how to do certain things, and then he had to be able to mimic it. And so that was the best way he was going to get it. And I had to sit there and watch him until he got it. So, like I said, it was difficult, but because I knew where she was coming from and that it wasn't because she just didn't care and that she was just lazy and didn't want to do it, I got it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like me watching my daughter learn how to tie her shoestrings, and I'm like, "Come on, we gotta go," and she's like really going with. I'm like, "Oh my God!" And I remember a couple of times saying, "Just let me do it," and then I had to stop myself and just say, "April, you're just gonna have to let her do it." And eventually she did, but just that since where I'm so accustomed to jumping in and doing stuff, that was hard. So
Yeah.
I can imagine.
But I was going to also say too, like sometimes, especially as they get older, we add to that element of overwhelm
Mm.
because we can allow them to do it, but we don't because we're either trying to make sure it's perfect or trying to make it a certain way. And no, like you just need to let them do and figure it out. Because once they do it, now you know what they're capable of. Now you can walk away and go do something else while they're doing that. And at least that's one less thing that's on your plate to do. You know what I mean? That's what I have to keep telling myself. And that's something that, helps me, especially when I get to a place where I'm like, okay, fine, just let me do it. And, it doesn't matter whether it's the, almost 13-year-old or it's the 4-year-old. It doesn't matter. Sometimes it's just like, I need it done now.
Yeah.
And, but it's also building character because at the end of the day, I had heard something about talking about telling your children, are that you're proud of them. That's a great thing, but you should be more asking them, are they proud of themselves? Especially when they do something and they accomplish something. So, Noah will do something really well and he'd be like, are you proud of me? And I just realized that like he is attaching his self-worth to whether or not I am proud of him. I need him and what he's done and the effort he's put in for him to be proud of it. If he is proud of his outcome, then he's more likely to actually do his best than to be trying to do something for me.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
That is good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Ariel too. She's always asking me that question when she does something. Are you proud of me? Are you happy with me? And it's like, yeah, I am. But are you happy? Like she just yesterday, she wanted to wear her hair some kind of crazy way, and I would not have done it that way, but that's what she wanted. And so she asked me, she said, "Do you like my hair?" I said, "Well, it's a little different than what I would do, but it doesn't matter what anybody else says. Are you happy with it? If you look in the mirror and you like it, that's all that matters." I said, it's like people that wear, different kinds of clothes. If they're happy in it, that's all that matters. You have to be happy. And it doesn't matter what they say. And if they have something to say, then you say, well, I like it, and that's all that matters, and leave it alone and move on. So, and I asked her if she understood, and she does. She's very intelligent for her age, so she got it. So, yeah. So, Shar said, doing the process is not easy, easier said than done, but reaping it, baby, y'all gonna love it. Yeah, because I know you're seeing that now with yours. It was great. It was great. Hey, Peach, you probably made it in. She said she was raised to be proud of her own accomplishments. It's great. You won't become an attention seeking adult. Absolutely. I grew up like that, a people pleaser, wanting to please everyone. And that made me, I needed that validation for my own self worth. And if
Yep.
I didn't get that validation, then I wasn't worthy. And I had to realize you are your own person. You don't have to please people. Are you happy? You're pleasing them, but are you happy? And I wasn't. So now I don't do that anymore. No, it is all about me. If I'm happy, if I like it, then if you don't like it, oh well. So
There you
So
go.
go to, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Daniel.
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah, yeah. So go to the Facebook page, One Cent Mom, and join. You don't have to have little ones. It's mom of all ages. Daniel said earlier that there are grandmothers in there, and I can't believe I'm a grandmother. Oh my God. I don't even use that term. I'm a Mimi, but
My
everyone's like,
mom is a Mimi. My mom is a Mimi.
hey, I don't want that grandmother term associated with, but everyone does it just to get on my nerves. Like, come on, really? So join One Spent Mom. I know that when we get off here that I am going to go and join myself because I'm not out, I'm not done yet. I still have one left to deal with, and she may take the cake right there. So that's right, Shar. If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Right.
Mm, that is very true.
So we want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing about your how you started your blog. That was great for you to do and being a postpartum doula. I like that. I like that a lot because yeah, they need the help in active labor and during the antepartum care and then definitely postpartum as well. So I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to come and talk about motherhood and balancing it all and postpartum depression and how you dealt with that and was able to maneuver it to still be good to yourself and your children as well.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I'm sorry that my camera is no longer with us. I don't know why.
It gave up the ghost.
Clearly, it did.
That's okay. That's all right. We got to see your beautiful face for a while before it just blanked out. So we still got a chance to see you. Thank you to everyone. Shar said we're gonna have to work out together. Body gospel. I know, right? I still have that set. So we had a church in Arizona, and Shar was a member of our church, and the women in the church started this working out together. And when I tell you, we got down some sides, like we were going hard. And Body Gospel it was one of the video sets that we did. I love it. You're still the GOAT. Video now. Oh, thanks, baby. I love you so much. I do. Thank y'all for joining us today. Next week is our He Said, She Said panel. If you are interested in being on the panel, don't worry. It's not going to be all, it's like this, laid back. We're going to talk about relationship with men and women, and we're going to have male and female perspective. And I have a good friend of mine, I'm not going to call his name out and have him be like, oh my God, she said my name. He's going to be on and he's already nervous. I'm like, don't be. But he's doing some great things too. But I would love to have a good mix of men and women to come on that we can discuss and we can just kind of chop it up about relationship and the men's perspective, and we can talk from the women's perspective and come to a happy medium where we have an understanding or clearer understanding on each other and communication and all of that. So that's going to be great. We're going to have that
I'm
once a
excited.
month. I am too. It's going to be great. But we're going to have you and I have our little powwow
Yeah.
and make sure we have everything together for that. It's a safe place. No topic is off limits. Just know that no topic is off limits. So join us next week on next Tuesday at 7:15 on all these platforms. You just said the name you wasn't gonna say. What did I say? What name did I say?
She's just trying to get you to say
You
it.
didn't say the name. She's trying to set you up.
Exactly. She's just trying to set you up.
She's trying
Exactly.
to set you
You
up.
know what? You know what? It be your own people sometimes.
Corey slick.
Trying to
Corey's
set
extra
you
slick.
up.
Exactly, Peach. Yes. Break your wine. Exactly.
Right. Break your wine. Be ready for it. I did.
Exactly.
I'm gonna run the video back. I did not say his name.
Look, I'm about to add this to my calendar. I'm coming back to this one. That's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can listen while you on the sidelines cheering the kids on.
Right, right. Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, my mommy is on here. Hey, mom. She's like,
Hi, Mom.
late. It's okay. It's all right. Just go back and watch it. My mom has a wealth of wisdom and knowledge. We already had her on the show, and she's like filled with stuff. So, anyway, not to belabor the time, Morgan, you have some last minute closing remarks.
Look, even Sharks.
Like we in church. Any final remarks from the pulpit?
Nope. I will see you next week.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
I'll see y'all next week. I will talk to you in a little bit.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know that. So just so y'all know, me and Morgan, we talk frequently. We chop it up all the time. So that's
Exactly. This be my sister friend, okay?
okay. All right. Everybody's like, hey, mama, queen of knowledge. Hey, Miss Green, the queen. Hey, you know what? Y'all love my mama. She's great. No, she's great. All right, y'all. So join us next week. If you know female entrepreneurs, those women that are doing phenomenal things in their lives, their community just overcame a lot. We want to interview them on the show. So have them to either inbox Morgan or inbox myself. Make sure you subscribe to the page. Share this information out so other women can join. We are all about empowering women, encouraging women, inspiring women to be better versions of themselves. So I want to be better tomorrow than I was today. There could be something on this show, and there have been plenty of things that we've had since January that have helped me personally. And we want to make sure we bring those ladies on to help you as well and just have a good time like we always do. So, Mom said, hello, everybody. She said she loved y'all. Now I'm getting a little salty because
I saw your whole face change. Come on, April.
why I gotta be this way? I was like, all right, I said I was gonna share. Mom says, hello, everybody. She says,
I'm gonna have a whole conversation with Ariel and be like, so
oh
next time, because listen, she's gonna be like, see, Mom, this is where I get it from. That's gonna be her next. She's gonna be pinpoint little things. You'd be like, you wonder why I'm goofy? You do some stuff. This is where I get it from.
And you know what I'm going to do when she does that? I'm just going to turn around and walk away because there's nothing that I can say.
No.
Just walk away. All right, y'all. Have a phenomenal evening and the rest of your week. Y'all keep me and Ariel in prayer. We will be flying from San Antonio on our way to Chicago tomorrow, and she will be in Ohio for the summer, and I'll be there for a conference, and then I'll be back. So keep us in prayer, and we will see you all next Tuesday at 7:15. See y'all later.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm so extra. Express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, what more do you say? Coming up. Yeah. Come up now.